November 21st, 1998, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was released in the United States of America for the Nintendo 64. At that time, players were captivated by an intriguing story, complex linear dungeons, and innovative and fluid 3D combat. This game set a precedent for what a 3D Zelda game should be. With its simplistic yet interesting story, linear progression, and hand-holding nature, it's a formula the series would stick to for nearly 20 years. As the number of 3D Zelda games increased, so did the number of fans getting bored with the linear nature of the series. This all came to a breaking point 13 years after Ocarina of Time with the release of Skyward Sword, when members of the Zelda community were fed up with the lack of innovation in the Zelda series and hand-holding nature of Link's companion characters. This kind of player progression often restricts the player's ability to think freely and come up with solutions on their own. Combined with the linear progression that had gotten quite boring and repetitive, the games became increasingly formulaic. It would take 6 years and a mostly failed console until the next Zelda game would be released, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. There's a certain beauty that comes out when playing Breath of the Wild. Key moments of gameplay that emphasize the already brilliant feelings exploring this vast land creates. Through a simplistic yet unique art style and a tremendously fitting soundtrack, there's a reason I keep coming back to this game, in its dilapidated, post-apocalyptic, but ultimately pleasant and calming open world. Despite the Switch's poor graphical fidelity, it's impressive what Nintendo was able to pull off with this game, particularly the absolutely massive draw distance. Coupled with a stunning, cel-shaded art style, it's hard not to stop and appreciate many of the vast and beautiful landscapes in this game. A complaint, however, that many made about this game when it first released was a lack of music in general. Music in Zelda games have always been these large, impressive scores, emphasizing the fact that you're on this grand adventure. And even softer songs like Ocarina of Time's opening theme set a tone for the kind of adventures you'll go on. This is in stark contrast to most of the music you will be listening to in Breath of the Wild. When you're out exploring, you will most likely be listening to simple touches of partially randomized piano sprinkled about as you walk, ride, or bike through a ruined Hyrule. Despite the lack of catchiness, many people forget to realize that it wouldn't really fit to have a grand score like something from Ocarina of Time. You are walking through and encountering the outcome of Link's and the champion's failures, a scorched land that's been ruined through years of conflict in a post-apocalyptic environment. However, those classic themes are still here. The Temple of Time theme is Ocarina's temple theme, slowed down a whole bunch. When riding on horseback, there are touches of the classic overworld theme, and even Rito Village is just a slowed down Dragon Roost Island with some fluff added on top. These songs are here, they're just broken. They're a lament to the past, but they're also hopeful for a bright future. These classic songs are adjusted or hidden, but not forgotten. This game's music can bring up countless feelings of loss, failure, and change, and it's a perfect background score for the calm adventures that you'll embark on and the places that you'll go. In my opinion, this is simply one of the most impactful and fitting soundtracks Nintendo has ever produced. The exploration is another reason Breath of the Wild was so innovative. Unlike other Zelda games, with Breath of the Wild, the point is to not know where to go, and to truly get lost and sidetracked on your own adventures. Even now, after I've spent over 250 hours in this game, I still find new things to appreciate about the world and its environments. Hyrule is massive in this game. Through a countless number of shrines, Korok seeds, mini-bosses, and much more, there is an endless amount of things to do and discover. Like Ocarina of Time, this game completely reset the Zelda formula. But I don't think that's why I keep coming back. I simply enjoy spending time and walking through this ruined, deep, and gigantic world while listening to its still, calm, and serene ambience. It's a strange and difficult to describe effect this game has on me, that no matter what, I can spend time doing practically nothing and still enjoy myself. At the end of the day, I'm not sure how to give proper justice to Breath of the Wild. It's the game that got me deep into gaming. One of the first that I could spend hours in and enjoy nearly every moment. No, this game isn't perfect. The combat is easily broken through armor upgrades and the healing system, and the dungeons aren't really that spectacular, if they're at all, depending on who you ask. But with certain aspects of the game design, the exploration, the art style, and a fitting and beautiful soundtrack, this is still, even 4 years later, not only the most impactful, but also my favorite game I've ever played.